My name is Andrew Saifu, and I'm in the Mount Holyoke Master of Arts Teacher Leadership Program. I'm passionate about teaching because it keeps me sharp, and working with young people keeps me energized and challenges me with the responsibility to be a positive role model and a positive influence. Before this program, I never thought of myself as a teacher leader, never thought of myself to be a teacher leader. But knowing what I know now about myself, about the profession, about my community, I feel confident I could help other teachers. Something I've learned through the M.A.T.L, I'm a much more reflective person than I was before starting the program. Reflecting on my weaknesses and my strengths helps me remember the big picture about student learning and building relationships. It's also helped me to evaluate and make informed adjustments in my practice. Something you think every teacher should know. Sometimes kids just won't listen, no matter what you do. Don't take it personally. Just do your best. Teachers need to be resilient and understand that what our role is, and not to abuse our position of authority. One or two highlights. I really enjoyed the kickoff event where we were able to meet everyone in our cohort. Getting to know classmates and see passionate teachers and adults wanting to learn was very cool. I also really enjoyed the professors I had a chance to work with who understood and empathized with working adults. For my capstone, I explored the topic of social and emotional learning, which is the idea that social skills and emotional competencies have a significant effect on learning. That teaching social and emotional skills falls within the responsibilities of schools. I looked at the research behind the huge growth of SEL, looked at case studies, standards, assessments, and curriculum to provide guidance for potential implementation at my school. I've compiled research and tools to educate others, and I plan to continue following the movement and have the most up-to-date resources for our school to reference.
My name is Cecily Merrill, and I'm an advanced art teacher in Maine at York Middle School. I am also a graduate of the Mount Holyoke College Masters of Art in the Teacher Leadership Program. Whether it be a positive or a negative impact, education changes the world. I am passionate about teaching because I want to be part of an education that changes the world for the better. I believe that teacher leadership is the vehicle for making change that matters in the lives of students. Through the M.A.T.L program, I have gained the resources and courage to effectively express my ideas. I feel empowered in my role as a teacher leader inside the classroom and school, as well as within my community. I am passionate about growing myself as a role model who elevates the teacher voice as well as the teaching profession. Something that I think every teacher should know is to remember that teachers are also students. Learning is a fluid practice. There is always room for growth and discovery. And at every stage of your learning journey, there will be this vast network of teachers and leaders ready to come to your aid. Don't be afraid to make mistakes or take risks. Reach out to others and ask questions. One of the highlights from my MHC journey is really the people. I'm so grateful for the teachers, the guest speakers, and my colleagues, the adult learners, who have inspired and supported my work. I have grown tremendously through this partnership and shared learning. For my capstone project, I developed a proposal for aligning my advanced art program, which is a gifted and talented art course that I teach, with the vision and mission of York Middle School, the growth mindset, based on respect, responsibility, and perseverance. I constructed my work using routine reflections through personal journaling, and through my reading and research. My final product called for an equitable process that is audition-based for identifying the advanced artists, which I presented to administration and guidance. The response was overwhelmingly positive. In the immediate future, I will continue to collaborate with administration and guidance about defining protocols for the application process and navigating conflicts with their scheduling. I will also continue to build an advanced art curriculum that is emphasizing the growth mindset through the choice-based and problem-based learning approaches. My dream in the more distant future is to share my work with a larger audience by publishing a book or designing a blog.
Hi, my name is Janessa Zikafus, and I'm in the Master of Arts of Teacher Leadership program here at Mount Holyoke. And I'm passionate about impacting the lives of young people. As a literacy coach, I love that my work focuses on the lifelong skill of literacy, which can change people's lives for the better. What makes me passionate about teacher leadership is that it offers teachers a way to grow as professionals without having to leave the classroom. It also gives us a way to work towards change in education in a more empowered way rather than from a position of victimhood. Something that I've learned at Mount Holyoke through this program, I've learned so much, but one thing that really stands out is that the M.A.T program has given me the confidence to take risks and advocate for the students at my school. And something I think every teacher should know is that your health matters. And the best part about the experience was returning to Mount Holyoke. I graduated with my bachelor's in anthropology in 1999. Another highlight was during one of our summer sessions on campus, another alum and I ran into our former anthropology professor, Andy Lass, who is also retiring this year. So my capstone project focuses on preventing burnout through teacher wellness. While many districts have started to look for ways to support teachers' wellness and use programs to reduce stress, such as mindfulness, my project takes more of a grassroots approach where teachers and teacher leaders are supporting one another through an online teacher wellness tribe called Rooted Teacher. And this tribe will also be different because it will serve as a safe space with tools and practices based on ancient healing techniques that teachers can access to empower themselves, build resilience, and rejuvenate their bodies, hearts, and minds. These practices go beyond working with simply the mind center, and instead they ground teachers in a way that allows any deep fears, anger, frustration, or stress to be processed through the body on an energetic level so that true healing can occur. And our Rooted Teacher website offers online wellness courses, one-to-one coaching that focuses on either wellness or instructional coaching, and in-person workshops and retreats designed specifically for teachers.
Hi there, I'm Todd D'Alessandro. I'm at the Ethel Walker School here in Simsbury, Connecticut, and I'm part of the M.A.T program.
What makes you passionate about teaching?
Well, what makes me passionate about teaching is that, especially Spanish, I know it's something that my students can use in the future. They may not realize it now, but I know it's something that they will thank me for in the future. And I'm passionate about teaching because I get to interact with young people and get to know them and find out what's interesting and learn from them.
What makes you passionate about teacher leadership?
I'm passionate about teacher leadership because I know that as I strengthen myself as a leader outside of the classroom, I'm also strengthening my own classroom because I'm working with other teachers. I'm learning from them. I'm helping them to strengthen their classrooms. And as we do that, we're helping to make the intrinsic, extrinsic, and promote what we're doing inside our classrooms to the greater community of our school.
What is something you have learned through the MATL that you use in your classroom or work regularly, and how has MHC prepared you to be a better teacher?
Well, MHC has prepared me to be a better teacher because they've given me a solid base in regards to pedagogy and technical skills in the classroom. And certainly for me, two things that I take away and use every day from my MATL program are learning targets and checks for assessment.
What is something every teacher should know?
Something that every teacher should know is that, and I learned this from Bev Bell, Sarcasm has no place in the classroom.
What are one or two highlights from your MHC experience?
EDUC 460 with Eric Levine was a great class. I learned a ton about how to design classes, and then I would say that the interactions with my professors and my co-students in the M.A.T program, I learned a ton from them, and it was a lot of fun.
Tell me a brief summary of your capstone and how you plan to use your capstone work in the future.
The capstone project that I did with two other individuals in the cohort, Kelly and Emily, was to design a course for brand new independent school teachers who work in the triple threat, that is teaching, coaching, living in the dorm. And so we designed a course that gives them a background, a support system, and an opportunity to excel and navigate that sometimes difficult work structure or the triple threat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jessica Roberts, and I'm graduating from the Masters of Teacher Leadership program at Mount Holyoke College. I'm a second grade teacher at a teacher-powered school in Asheville, North Carolina, and this is my 17th year in the classroom. Why am I passionate about teaching? I think I'm passionate about teaching because I love to foster a love of learning. I cultivate curiosity, exploration, and hands-on learning experiences in my classroom. My own learning challenges growing up inspired me to become a teacher. I wanted to provide opportunities for children who, like me, learned atypically. In my classroom, my students all have different learning styles, and I provide a safe place for them to be themselves and take risks and to love learning, and most of all, to make mistakes. They know I care deeply for them and really see them as learners and individuals. Why am I passionate about teacher leadership? Being a teacher leader means knowing yourself and knowing your strengths, and also to be able to actively listen and leverage strengths in others so that you're able to set goals and build really strong teams. Leadership is about resiliency, knowing your values and taking care of yourself so that you can be strong and present for others. I've learned so much through the M.A.T program, and I use what I've learned in my classroom and in my work regularly. The thing that sticks out the most is the importance of articulation. We are the voice for our students, and it is important for us to learn as leaders to articulate what it means to be a teacher. What do our students need? We are the link between policymakers and what is best for students in learning. Articulating our practice is a form of advocating for our colleagues and students. So I try to find ways to do this with parents, administration, on social media, and with policymakers. Something I think every teacher should know is how to build a professional network. Who are your people? Create a professional network of organizations, niche groups, buddies, and mentors. This network can consist of leadership heroes, communities of collaboration, and just your buddies that support and you trust. My buddies and my teacher leadership collaboration, they're my biggest support. So I would say find your people. I also think that teaching and leadership take bravery. You need to be brave so that you can be transparent and vulnerable and honest about what you don't know, and also to let yourself be seen and put yourself out there, and also to say what you know to be true and convicted about what you believe. There's so many highlights from my Mount Holyoke College experience, but I think my biggest highlight is getting to know my amazing cohort. I have learned so much from this group of teacher leaders, and I think they are truly amazing, and I'm so proud to call them colleagues and friends. Last summer, I got the opportunity to present with 3 other MATL colleagues at the National Network State Teachers of the Year conference in Washington, D.C. I was able to network and learn from education leaders from around the country, and I had the opportunity to talk with my state representatives about some issues in education and advocate for my students. This brings me to my capstone project. My capstone focuses on providing hands-on experiential learning for pre-service teachers. I'm passionate about supporting young teachers, and I believe in providing real-life classroom opportunities for them. So I created a virtual collaboration toolkit. This is an innovative way for pre-service teachers to gain more access to real-life student learning and accomplished teaching. It is low cost and simple, and to provide a classroom experience and exposure to students, and it can be added to any education methods course, and it correlates with their class syllabus. For this project, I partnered with Dr. Terry Rose, Professor of Teaching and Learning in Mathematics at Western Carolina University. We provided a virtual experience for one section of her math methods course. Her students virtually joined my second grade math class once a week to observe lessons and engage in math discourse. Each week we debriefed together about the lesson, and education students had the opportunity to ask questions and discuss methodologies and strategies that they observed in the lesson. I was implementing in the classroom. I so look forward to opportunities to implement this project in the future. I already have some plans with Dr. Rose to continue the project in the fall and maybe add another grade to the project as well. And I also look forward to more opportunities to support education students.
Hi, my name is Emily McDowell. I'm the Associate Director of College Counseling at the Williston Northampton School, and I'm in the independent school cohort of the M.A.T program. I love teaching and I love education for the simple reason that I absolutely am passionate about helping students find and uncover their best selves. And for the same reason, I have really become very passionate about teacher leadership. I love the opportunity to help my peers, help fellow teachers to uncover those passions and their strengths that they maybe didn't even know that they had. My project for the M.A.T program has been to create a course for Mount Holyoke together with two other independent school cohort peers. We created a course on the triple threat model, and it's something that I hope will add to the offerings that Mount Holyoke has and be something that will help me stay connected to the Mount Holyoke program. The M.A.T program, the M.A.T.L program, has been an absolute joy to be a part of, and for the simple fact that I have been able to make connections and make friends across the world. I have people that I can lean on and people I can reach out to for a variety of reasons, and I have really enjoyed that opportunity.
Thanks very much. Hi, everybody. You're looking great this afternoon. Hi.
Hi, I'm Harley, and this is Miss Neary's Period 8 Intro to Journalism class. We are learning techniques for good interviewing skills. So, Miss Neary, can we record you?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Sonia, yes.
Hi, can you please state your name and program?
Yes, I am Ann Neary. I'm a candidate for the Masters of the Art of Teacher Leadership. Yes, Remy.
Hi, what makes you so passionate about teaching?
Well, I think just look around me. I'm with these students all day long, every day, and it's fantastic. That's Brian.
What makes you passionate about teacher leadership?
I think teachers have a great deal of knowledge that is useful for policy, for administration, for coaching. The work that they do in schools makes schools better for all students. Yes, Kevin.
What's something that you've learned through the Master of the Art in Teacher Leadership that you use in your classroom regularly?
I've learned to say that expression because it's really long, but what I had to learn was about myself, what I'm like as a teacher, and I think that one of the things I learned was that I could use my strength as an optimistic person to engage my students in lessons. Yes, Andreas.
How has Mount Holyoke College prepared you to be a better teacher?
Great question, thank you. I think the program at Mount Holyoke has introduced me to the country's finest educators. They have listened to my work, they've mentored my program and me all the way through it, and they've become friends of mine. So I've become a better teacher through that association.
Yes, Madison.
What is something that every teacher should know?
Another great question, thank you. Every teacher should know that there's endless possibilities to make a difference in the life of children.
Yes, Maya.
Could you describe one or two highlights from the Mount Holyoke College experience?
Thank you. The highlight, of course, is being among the cohort that I was in, because the teachers are all incredibly passionate and knowledgeable and very forward-thinking. And the other highlight was my trip with my friends Ryan, Katie, and Jessica, where we collaborated and made a presentation for the National State Teachers of the Year in Washington, D.C. last summer.
Yes.
Give a brief summary of your capstone.
My capstone project is my work for certification, National Board Certification Teacher Standard. It's the gold standard for educators, and it's been a year-long process where I collect data and information of how I get to know my students, what lessons I give to you, what order I give them in, how I assess you, how it works for you, and then I reflect on all of that work in order to pass this exam.
Gary.
How do you plan to use your capstone in the future?
I use the capstone every day, actually. It's changed the way I like to get to know my students, so that happens immediately when we come to class. And it's changed the way I think about assessments and the lessons and what's important in lessons and how you're learning and how I mark how you're learning and measure how you're learning. And then also, I'm going to be at a conference this coming Thursday in Connecticut, trying to engage other teachers in this process.
I think we have all we need. Thank you, Mrs. Neary.
Oh, thank you, Andy. Thank you, class.
My name is Sue Majolski. I am a French teacher at the Williston Northampton School in East Hampton, Massachusetts. I am a member of the inaugural cohort of Mount Holyoke's M.A.T program with a specialization in independent schools. I'm passionate about French because I believe that it, like all language, opens doors and opportunities and brings people together. I'm passionate about teaching overall because I believe that there's something really special about being part of helping kids realize that they can do anything they set their mind to. Similarly, I'm passionate about teacher leadership. I've come to be thanks to this program. I think I've always believed that teachers are by definition leaders, but through this program, I've realized that there is no small leading, and I'm looking forward to helping more teachers, novice and veteran alike, realize that and recognize that characteristic in themselves. I think something I've learned from Mount Holyoke that comes into my practice is certainly being comfortable with reflection and silence, which sometimes in dealing with teenagers, we want to make every minute filled. And I think it's been a good reminder that some silence and some room for reflection is really good. I think every teacher should know that the kids are good. I think they do know that, and that kids want to learn, but they may not just know how to do that. There's so much going on for kids at any given point, but they are fundamentally good. Highlight of my experience has definitely been the people I've met from across the world. And for my capstone project, I researched the first year experience of boarding school teachers, and from that I created a support program to help them figure out how to teach and to teach well in the unique boarding school environment, and be paired with a novice and veteran teacher to help that first year be as smooth as it can. Thank you.
My name is Katie Biggs, and I am in the Master of Arts in Teacher Leadership program with Mount Holyoke. What makes me passionate about teaching is being able to mold young citizens who are going to have the confidence to go out into the world and conquer their dreams. What makes me passionate about teacher leadership is it's fun, it's challenging, and it's inspiring. And not only do I get to lead from within my classroom, but I get to lead from outside of my classroom and really stretch beyond the walls of not only the classroom, but also the school, and really make a difference in our profession. Something that I have learned from the Mount Holyoke Teacher Leadership program is to always know my audience. Whether I am facilitating a group of kindergartners or a group of fifth grade teachers or a variety of teachers from an entire district, I have to know who they are as learners, their interests, how they prefer to learn, and also I always remember that there is always a better way to deliver something that's fun, energetic, and makes people really happy that they're with you. Something every teacher should know is their value. Every teacher, whether they are a first-year teacher or a teacher who's been teaching for 43 years, there's expertise in there, and we must, as professionals, continue to talk to one another and to be open to new learning experiences that we can gain from each other. Two highlights from the Mount Holyoke program leave me with a smile. The first one being waking up in the middle of the night for 2 years to attend class with a phenomenal group of people who I now call friends. I learned amazing things from them, and I walked away every night just my head filled with ideas that I couldn't wait to try to implement. And the second highlight is working with my wonderful friends at Enstoy. We got to go on a wonderful adventure and present at a conference together. That experience left me with new knowledge, new insights, and a greater confidence in myself as a facilitator. My capstone project was on national board certification. A few of us who were also doing this together, we made a video about our process and our thinking as we went through the national board certification. My hopes for future use of this is to really help others with going through the process and possibly being a mentor and really educating other teachers about what a wonderful professional learning experience completing this process is.
Hi, my name is Ryan Wallace, and I'm a member of the second cohort of the Master of Arts and Teacher Leadership program at Mount Holyoke College. I am passionate about teaching because I love exposing my students to new writers and great thinkers in the hopes that they find their own unique voice. And my English classroom, I feel, is the greatest place to do that. I am passionate about teacher leadership because I've seen too many of my colleagues and so many teachers in general move on from the classroom in the hopes of trying to initiate and facilitate change at a greater level, only to regret not having that connection inside the classroom, not being able to interact with those students directly. The Master of Arts of Teacher Leadership program allows us to do both that, and we've witnessed that over these past 2 years. Greatest takeaway I have from this program on my own practice is the idea of choice. This entire course load has been based on choice, from our reading lists to our capstone projects, to even our partners on some of those projects. In giving us choice, we were able to really pave our own path in something that has no real sort of definition at this point. Teacher leadership is what we made of it. And now as I bring that to my classroom, my students are given that same choice. They're finding new ways to present the material that I'm asking them to. They're finding new material to fulfill the requirements of my classroom. And the engagement level has gone through the roof since I've been able to do that. If anything, choice has been the greatest takeaway from this program. Something I think every teacher leader should know, or every teacher should know, is that teaching is not an entry-level position. That has been my mantra from day one, and it's what led me to this program. You're not going to move on to administration just because you've taught for a few years and then move on to superintendent. You may, if that's what you want to, but teacher leadership means you don't have to. Don't ever view your job as any less than any other educator position out there. In fact, it's the opposite. A few highlights from my experience in the M.A.T program: presenting with my rockstar classmates at 2017 Enstoy Conference in Washington, D.C. And our weekly classes. It's not often you get to be in a virtual room with a group of educators who are driven, solution-oriented, and want the best for everyone. My capstone project was attempting the National Board for Professional Teaching Standards process. I am still working, I plan to work, and whatever comes or whatever happens at the end, I'll take it and I will continue along that pathway. It's been an incredible experience and very changing and very telling experience for this educator. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Betsy. I am in the Master of Arts of Teacher Leadership Cohort 2. I'm also Mount Holyoke class of 2011, and I'm a teacher and teacher leader in Denver Public Schools. I have wanted to be a teacher for about forever. I decided back in kindergarten, never really changed my mind. Early childhood education was one of the things I studied at Mount Holyoke, and I love teaching. There are so many reasons. I think the biggest is that I get to spend all day with kids, which is wonderful and fun and exciting, and much easier than spending all day with adults. It's really valuable as well. I really get to be involved in their learning, and that's something I really value. The process of planning, seeing how kids learn and grow, knowing about development and what that looks like is really interesting. I teach 3 to 5-year-olds, so we see a lot of growth over a year for them, and it's just very exciting to be a part of that and to really see that happen in front of me. Along with that, I think for me, teaching really gives me a sense of who I am, the role I have in my kids' lives, in our community, in creating a future that I want to live in. It's a very values-driven profession. It's very mission and purpose-driven, and that's something that matters to me. But more than anything else, I think it's fun. It's exciting, and every day is different. I am never bored. I do a lot of play-based learning, which is this really fun and interesting combination of planning ahead of time to set things up, and then really having to do a lot of improvising in the moment to make sure I'm meeting kids' needs through play. And it's intellectually stimulating. It's fun. We have great, strong connections that really help tie everything together, and I really enjoy it. And I've been realizing that a lot of the things that draw me to teaching are also what make me passionate about teacher leadership. The challenges of working with adults can be very different than the challenges of working with kids, but a lot of times I'm finding that the rewards are very similar, especially when it comes to that process of learning and growth. I'm primarily interested in instructional leadership, working with adult learners through coaching, professional learning, collaborative work, facilitation. And it's a very similar process of planning, finding the right tools for each person to grow from where they are, and then really seeing it play out. Except that now I have a much wider scope, so I'm not just influencing my classroom, but I know that the things I teach other teachers will then go on to make a difference for their students, which is really very satisfying. I think I have learned so much through this program, especially this last capstone semester, which has been just an amazing and very intense learning experience. But I think what really made this program transformative for me was not any discrete knowledge, but really a shift in the way I see myself and I see a profession. I never really thought much about teacher leadership, and I definitely didn't think about myself as a teacher leader. I'd always thought, well, I'm not going to leave the classroom, so I'm just going to teach forever. And my shift in my sense of who I am and my confidence to take on leadership and my sense that that's something that all teachers should be doing has really changed. To the point where next year I'm actually going to be in a formal teacher leadership role where I'll be teaching half days and I'll be coaching half days, which is a very big shift for me that I would never have considered without everything I've learned through this program. And so I think for me that has been the biggest change and probably the most valuable one. And it's also the one I wish I could share with other teachers. teachers really need to know that they have a leadership voice, that their experience and their expertise matter, and that they can and should be speaking up. Last week we had a walkout here in Denver, in Colorado. And so I was at the Capitol with thousands of other educators, and I realized that all of us were engaging in advocacy, whether or not we think of ourselves as leaders, whether we not, I don't think of myself as someone who really knows much about advocacy, much more than I did, but it's still not my area of passion. But we were all taking on leadership roles then, formally through the union, who'd done all the organizing, or informally for the rest of us. And I really think it's important for teachers to be able to see that and acknowledge it and build on it, both for themselves and their own development, but also for our profession. There have been so many wonderful things about this program. I think this capstone process was definitely a highlight for me. I'm almost, but not quite, sad to be done with it now. But I think my very favorite thing was the wonderful cohort. Because you take all the same classes together, you really get to know each other. And it's just been so interesting to connect with teachers from all over the world and to see how they've grown and where their passions have taken them. It was so neat to see everybody's capstone presentations. And so I think really my big highlight were the 2 intensive summer courses where I went back to Mount Holyoke, partly because I loved being back in the Pioneer Valley, but largely because I got to see everybody in person, and it was wonderful to connect to each other in a way that wasn't virtual. So, as I mentioned, next year I'm going to be moving into a hybrid role where I'll be coaching half the time and working with other adult learners. So with that in mind, my capstone really focused on instructional coaching and adult learning. I did a lot of research into different kinds of coaching, what makes coaching work, whether coaching works, and then I tried to turn that into discrete tools that I could use next year, planning, protocols, and things like that I'll be able to bring into my coaching practice.